So we always say things can change so quickly, and the main event of UFC 265 is the greatest example of this that I could possibly think of. Vegas clearly knew something we didn't because when you ask the public who's going to win this fight, maybe split, leaning even towards Derek Lewis possibly, and Gane was a heavy favorite, and we found out why. What do you make of this all?
Yeah, wow. To me, it was a very much a wow moment where you just felt like you were watching like a transformation, an evolution of the sport. For Gane, he came out as like a hot prospect. Maybe like a year ago, he was people to watch, someone to watch, and then he had a couple fights recently where he was strategic. Volkov, especially, he was didn't really land anything that was highlight worthy. He fought really well though. He fought a guy who
Yeah.
has a really long reach. He fought him extremely well, and then I guess we just forgot what that means and what it meant to be able to finish people with submissions and other striking, which he's done throughout his time at the UFC. And if with his 10th fight professionally, he's now a champion in the UFC
Incredible.
heavyweight division, and he made Derek Lewis, the guy who has the most knockouts in UFC heavyweight history, look like he had no business being in there. It was really just he could do whatever he wanted. He was, to me, it was the evolution of the heavyweight where you have a guy who looks like a linebacker, who moves like a middleweight, who cuts angles. We've seen heavyweights with heavy firepower and like elite striking
Of
from that
course.
sense,
Yeah.
like Alistair Overeem. But when Overeem was at his best in the UFC, he's still sort of plodding along and just landing vicious combinations from unique angles from that kickboxing background. With Gane, you have him landing those same type of strikes, but he's getting out of the way before you can even fire back. He's pivoting on you and he's cutting an angle that you really only see guys at the lighter weight classes do. And so,
Yeah.
to me, it was a very much a whoa moment. And that, to me, we also saw that killer instinct where he was going for the finish. And I think that was one question mark I had, which was, yeah, does he have the ability? We've seen him finish people, but man, those punches when he had him like hurt against the fence, I've never seen someone reach back so far and swing so viciously.
He
And
was
so,
punching
yeah,
like he wanted to finish the fight, yeah, and win a
yeah,
belt.
exactly. So to me, it was wow, and I imagine the UFC and Dana White are also happy about that performance. So what do you think?
I think you summed it up very, very well. I mean, the fight wasn't even competitive. It's almost hard to talk about. It coming to life before our eyes. I think he's been in MMA for 3 years now, which is incredible.
It's
I
insane.
think, and I hate this term sometimes because it's a little cliche, but fight IQ. I mean, that is how you learn to improve that much in 3 years. Is you can process so much and store it in your brain and tap in it when you need to, and also stay calm and disciplined and have a strategic approach and controlling distance and all these things that he did and put on this master class. I saw the post fight interview. They asked, is was Derek what you expected? And he said exactly. He was exactly what we expected, and that's why it went the way it did. So his preparation, the way he can also break these things down, and I know he works with this whole team, but every detail of it worked to perfection, and you need to also stay disciplined for that to happen. So what a performance! I want to say what an incredible fight, but it was really too one sided to do so. But this is shaking up everything we know in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, yeah, he's scary now.
Yeah,
And I think on top of that, we saw him be able to sort of weather a dangerous puncher. I'd say
yeah,
Lewis is more akin to Ngannou's style than like Volkov was, and I think Volkov matches up better against Gane than Francis does, and so I think if I'm Francis watching that, I'm maybe a little nervous because we saw Lewis come out swinging and Gane covered up and pivoted out of the way and was just laughing it off like he was really just two steps ahead, and I think we really are watching his style just as like sort of the new age of MMA fighter, where we really only saw guys like TJ Dillashaw and guys at the lighter weight classes move like that. I think that's just because he has
it's so
such like a
beautiful.
yeah, he didn't spend 10 years learning one striking style. I think he's really just,
Kickboxing background too helps big time.
yeah. But I think being in MMA for like only 3 years, he's really just like taking on that sort of new MMA, striking for MMA, and
Yeah,
not just
yeah,
the classic Dutch Thai style with punch, punch, kick, punch, punch, kick. He's hitting punches from unique angles. He's framing guys out of the way. It's really crazy to watch. And as far as we can see, he has good takedown defense. I mean, he's built like a statue. So
yeah. And this is
yeah,
going to be a rare matchup of two heavyweights that are both built like statues. Sometimes you get one, but you have two here, and man, it's going to be a show.